Oh, if you woke up bored today, let's break that slow pace with some Quake that will leave you with an absolutely electrifying taste. As we are back for another stage, another season, another week of the Quake Pro League, but a man that's definitely not weak and probably more akin to being described as quite strong or maybe a demigod, maybe like Moana type situation. How you doing, ZSX? How you been, mate?
I'm good, man. I'm really good. I'm loving the new background. I'm excited for the new stage. It's been a really quite short Christmas actually, so come around quick, and I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, the thing is, that's the funny thing about Christmas, Dan. Normally always just 24 hours, really, isn't it? So same length every year, to be honest.
I know, I get presents every day from all the fans out there, so every day is Christmas for me.
I'm not surprised. You're a very lovable guy. But I'll tell you what was lovable. The stage finals. Obviously, at this point, a couple of weeks ago now, seems like a distant memory. But for all of our pros, it was blood, sweat, and tears that were pumped in. And it was a hell of a final, Dan. We saw a great conclusion to the end of what was the start of Season 2 of the Quake Pro League.
Yeah, it was a really great final, and I think as expected, Rafa walked away with it. And I say as expected, he just fully deserved it. He's just been on another level for going on 18 months. It's just incredible consistency, and to come out on top once again, despite the mixed bracket from the start, shows how powerful he is at the moment. But it's good to see people like Razy coming back to form as well, and some great matchups throughout. So I'm really excited for this stage.
No, it was sick. Like, genuinely, as finals go, I think every time we get to them, we say that this is the best final yet, and they kind of beat each other every time. I don't know how it keeps happening, but I'm glad it does. And it was sick, man. We got some really good games off of it. Like, some of the players as well that I think we wanted to see show up really did. We had some unfortunate exits as well for pros that have been with us for years and years, right? If you think in the case of Toxic, Dan, so much history was made and lost in the space of, 3 days?
Yeah, the challenges was heartbreaking for some, but it's good to see some fresh blood coming through. Garpy's back in the Pro League. Excited to see how he plays out this time as well. I think he's definitely got it in him to ruffle some feathers, and at the top end of the bracket as well. I think it kind of played out as we all expected, but it was really, from my perspective, again, nice to see how close Razy was able to push it to the wire this time. So perhaps going into stage 2, this is maybe his time to really take it up a notch.
Yeah, by far the closest final we've ever had. Normally, I don't know if it's a curse or what it is, but we always get to that final, right? And it falls flat. We just see whoever makes it there get dismantled in the quickest form possible by Rafa. But I think edge of the seat for everyone watching that. All of the talent team, everyone was just sat there just trying to keep themselves composed, thinking that potentially this was the time that he gets dethroned. Didn't happen, but if you did miss that grand final series, definitely go back and catch it. Like, a grueling effort. When you think about the amount of hours that went in to grind through lower bracket, to go up against Rafa, to take it down to such a close position, crazy stuff.
Yeah, everything was crazy start to finish. I think everyone really who we expected to show up did show up. Cypher put in some great performances as well. Killsome a bit up and down, but brought his best game. vengeurR and Chain did really great, but nearly boys once again. So much nearly points for a lot of players to bring through and refine for this season. We do have a slightly different map pool as well, so that will slightly mix things up. And we carry on, we keep grinding.
We do. But of course, if you missed what went down over the course of last season, or potentially just with the finals, and you're wanting to know where everyone's situated, who got the most money, who was able to do the most damage, we can get you up to speed. We do have the current world standings, of course, off the back of stage 1 of season 2 of the Quake Pro League. This includes the maps that were played, the wins, the losses, and the chunk of change that they took. As you can see, up on top, Rafa 14-0 throughout the regular season. He didn't drop a map, and he made a lot of pocket money because of it, Dan.
Yeah, man, 14-0 is just crazy when you look at the level of competition he's got up against, not only throughout the US season, but also the stage finals, as we just mentioned. So full credit to him to be sitting up there well above everyone else. Razy then pulling it through at the end, gave me a little bit of boost and extra money, and then we kind of get that stable around 8-9k with a lot of the Europeans, and then Chain right up there as well. So it's pretty close, and the standings are, as we'd expect, looking towards the bottom end of the bracket, seeing people like Cooler down in 17th again. Didn't have a good stage 1, didn't have a good finals either, but Spart1e and Effortless moves up, and they had some good performances as well. So it is still mightily competitive, and interested to see who takes that step up this season. I think every season so far and every stage so far, somebody somewhat unexpected, has taken that real big leap. So who is it going to be this time?
There's so many players that I can't wait to slowly see come out of the woodwork this season. One of them that unfortunately isn't playing tonight as well, that we'll get into in the schedule in a minute, is Dramus, because he popped off. He had a great run at the finals. I'm pretty sure it's his best placement yet at one of the finals, and he looks so damn good. Even the games that he lost, he still played his heart out. He gave it his all, and it was fantastic to watch. Like, I think Dramus, in terms of MVP of someone that just came out and gave it for that final, Dan, I think he takes it for me.
I completely agree. He's got such a interesting and aggressive play style. I love to watch him. And again, he was one of the players that, for me in stage one, didn't come and give and show his best form for quite a lot of that stage. But at the end of the day, that comes down to a bit of his play style. That aggression cannot always pay off. And a lot of the games were close, but he didn't have as many map wins as one would expect. But as you say, really stormed through in the finals and showed us some of his best Quake. And if he can continue that momentum the same way Chain did after stage 2 last year, he's somebody that might have some upsets up his sleeve.
Oh, absolutely, mate. I saw Dramus was tweeting saying that he had got himself some sweets. They had arrived just in time for the season to kick off. But something that will certainly leave you on a bit of a sugar hype is the games that we have coming up tonight. We'll get into the schedule and we'll have a look at all of the games that are going to be played. 7 best of 3s. Of course, same format as previously. We play out all 3 of the maps to try and make the most money possible for our pros. It's all about taking wins on a map-by-map basis, Dan, and we've got 7 games. DJ Wheat joining us for the last 2, as per usual, as well as we get into Razy Garpy and Rafa Saigir. But we'll start with our opening few games. We're coming in straight away with Spart1e vengeurR, Daniel.
Yeah, Spart1e is somebody that didn't have the best finals, considering how strong he had looked through quite a lot of stage 1. I mean, he's very hit and miss as a player, but has the experience and the skills to upset somebody of vengeur's caliber. And I think vengeurR, again, on the flip side, is somebody that might not be entirely happy with his performance either in stage 1. I think we've all been looking, and he's been looking for a long time to really take his finals placement to the next stage. And when he's consistently, top 3, top 5, that's already a huge success. But he knows in himself he has that championship potential, and he just wants to make it that little bit cleaner.
Oh, absolutely. I think this is why it's quite fun as well, because again, straight away, you've got a game that is a player that has so much history behind him in terms of Spart1e and what he's done inside of Quake, and also inside of Quake Champions as well. Then you've got vengeurR, right, that has just been building himself a bigger and bigger legacy the longer he's been able to actually show how damn talented he is at Quake Champions, because he's unbelievable when it comes to mechanical understanding of the game, in terms of his aim as well, very crisp. And he's just a pretty fresh guy, Dan. For someone that's, so chilled out, so young, I don't know how he does it. He just styles on fools day to day.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. He's somebody that shows kind of most experienced play, even though he is one of the youngest competitors, if not the youngest, I think, in the league. So it's definitely to his credit, and he still knows there's a lot to evolve. And I think one of the interesting points for me is that week 1's always a bit more chaotic, because it's almost like pre-season in sport, right? Like, these people they put in so much effort going into those finals that have a little bit of a decompression stage, a little bit of a break, and you get into week 1 again. There's some new maps in the pool, some testing and strategy. It's not as tense to pick up some points, and it can be a bit of a testing and embedding stage. So I'm expecting some fireworks because of that.
Yeah, especially coming back in off the back of like the holiday break as well,
exactly.
Right? Like over Christmas and New Year's, you imagine everyone's taken a little bit of time off to relax, potentially just recoup, de-stress after the finals, because we did see everyone really go hard over the course of finals. Like the amount of commitment, the amount of practice we saw players trying to ramp up. You need a bit of that time to get your mental game back. So coming into this, is that going to potentially benefit some of the players more than others? Are we going to see people looking a little bit shaky tonight? If there was a week for upsets, week 1, I think you bang on the money, right? Like, this is where potentially we would see those crazy results start to creep in.
Exactly, and Spart1e, as we said, somebody that can do that. I love to watch Spart1e. You just never know. You never know what he's going to bring to the table. That's why it's so fun.
It's true. It's true. He is a bit of a gangster. He is indeed. Let's have a look at the map veto for this one, though, and see what we're working with. First series of Season 2 of the Quake Pro League for Stage 2 here. And we're kicking it off with Ruins of Sarnath, moving swiftly into Awoken after that. And then rounding it out with Veil of Nath. Back in the pool, Dan. Fresh face there.
Man, I love Veil. It's such a fun map to watch, and I'm really, really glad it's back in the pool. We have lost Blood Covenant and we have lost Koth, so I'm not sure a lot of players would be upset to see Koth go. Although saying that, in the finals we did see some pretty fun maps on it. It wasn't a map highly played though, but Veil is a map that a lot of players do like, and I really enjoy watching it. But yeah, starting off from Ruins, we do see the standard meta, Galena, always a big pick on that map, and Ison has a lot of value as well. Obviously, protecting the heavy, both those champions do favour that kind of defensive play style down there. Awoken, we got the stroke coming out, a bit more unusual, but Spart1e plays it pretty well, and I'm excited to see the Athena out on vengeurR. It's not a pick he would normally play from my recollection, so interested to see what he brings on that. And then we have Veil. Again, we have Sorlag with such a strong pick on that map because you can isolate both those items, obviously the acid as well, use that air control to really push your opponent, and BJ to kind of counter that heavy stack as well.
Yeah, that's the rough part, is although BJ, on Veil, perfect counter in terms of being able to force you out of getting into control with items, I think your job is so much harder. Your opportunity to make mistakes on a Sorlag, way, way more lenient, right? You can get away with it, but BJ, you mess up, at any point, you leave yourself so susceptible for those attacks to close in. So that could be an interesting way to close out the game.
Yeah, BJ also favors mid-range encounters mostly. It can obviously be massively useful at range or in close combat, but Veil, you can definitely avoid a lot of confrontation. So I would definitely favor the stack and speed that Sorlax brings, because then you can pick and choose your encounters a lot better. Playing the BJ does mean you have to be a bit more reserved, really calculate around your positioning, understand what the Sorlag's doing. So it's going to be a tough ask, I think, if we get to that stage, and Spart1e needs that map for him to pull that one out.
Yeah, and obviously Sorlag just has a tough ass. He's able to take a lot of damage down because of the size of the stack. My bad. Look, first show, we're easing back in, we'll see as it goes.
Got to learn the game again,
to be fair. That's why you're here, mate. You're going to teach me.
This is true.
You're like my professor. And
we get to see a live workshop for all the audience.
Oh, that'd be lovely. That'd be really quite nice. We'll start scribbling it down. I'll get my notebook out, and we will be doing notes at the end. So make sure you keep track of everything me and Dan talk about tonight. There will be a pop quiz before we close out.
I would love that.
Mate, I think it'd bang. I think it'd be fantastic. We'll do it on your Twitter. We'll do all the little questions. We'll get people to tweet in, see if they get 10 out of 10. If they do, you can send them a prize. Send them a picture of your bicep.
Professor Dan.
Professor Dan. I like it. It works. I'll tell you what else I like. The fact that we are loading into Ruins of Sana. First map, kicking it off with Ruins is the dream, to be honest, as well. Like, in terms of the actual vertical play on this, I like it. I do enjoy this. I like the veto we've been given as well. I actually do want to pick up on the point you mentioned about Athena coming in, because although it's not too commonly picked for vengeurR, like it's not super picked out a lot, when it does come into the fray, it is really sick to watch. Like, again, movement's always been a strong suit for vengeurR, right? He understands how to abuse movement mechanics to a high pedigree. Then you give him a grapple where he can just launch himself into the stratosphere whilst hitting mad rails. You know he's going to perform.
He is going to perform, but we have to wait for that, as we have to see him play on the ice. And to start with, up on Ruins, Spart1e with the heavy spawn, and the rail needs to get out of dodge as vengeur's coming in hot. Spart1e does get away without taking too much damage. vengeurR continues to push in, having picked up that lightning gun, and Spart1e's in a bit of trouble up here, only the rail to work with and not connecting with anything so far. But he manages to just about get out now.
All right, well, here we go. First map, first match, first duel. Stage 2 of Season 2. All the pros had a little bit of downtime off the back of the stage final, but now they are fresh back in the server and ready to do some damage. We're starting off with a life for the party, of course, with Spart1e's POV. Already 2 totems down, but a bit of damage being marked up as vengeurR coming in with a crispy rail to at least chip him somewhat and cause him to fall back. Trying to course correct now, Dan, as these shots are just raining in. That one not actually landing, though.
Yeah, he's got the spot exactly where he wants him, trapped down on the low ground. Spart1e actually foolishly, if anything, drops. I'm not expecting vengeurR to be posturing so aggressively up there. It will be a very easy frag, and it's just in time before both major items spawn. And Spart1e actually gets the heavy spawn. He'll be walking into a couple of rockets, and vengeurR won't be able to clean this up, but he's done enough damage to be happy and content to fall back. Just misses that pixel rail as well. He's on a good position, only a minute into this map.
Yeah, it's not bad. Nice stack
as well.
Wow, okay. Good adjustment on the flick as he faces out with a rail as well, getting the totem down. turret rather, as he'll drop that down to the lower levels to at least have a bit of an early warning of where exactly Spart1e is going to be rotating off to. Picks himself up the heavy. Good play with the rockets as well. Gets himself up, down. Quick transition into the rail. The shot he's pulled out, and he's chasing him hard.
He is. He did a lot of damage, but he knew it was just before the major item. Spart1e actually sticks around, hits nice double rail through the windows with absolutely nothing to work with. And the big decider in that play was the overstack. He's got it up already, and it saved his life enough to sustain him for the major items. vengeur's pushing his hard here as Spart1e once again doesn't have any rockets, and he's scuttling away with not a lot to work with. But vengeurr has read that movement, but is not connecting with as much as he would want to just so far.
The rail being a gigantic part of this bout so far. So many of the frags already being decided off the back of the weapon. You look at the damage, both of them effectively at 500 at this point. The LG getting a little bit of love, but the rail not going to be able to chase up. vengeurr, he's low, but Spart1e still doesn't overcommit to this fight. He instead plays it safe. He's one frag down, so he'll start to grind his way back into this. Backs off, build his stack back up. Also gives vengeurr the same opportunity though, Dan.
Yeah, up until now, Spart1e hadn't really had a rocket to work with. vengeurr did a great job of keeping the pressure on and keeping Spart1e isolated to the side of the map that he wanted him to be. But vengeur's execution hasn't been as clean as we would have seen in the past. And again, that might come down to a little bit of rust off the back of the season. But the decision-making has been on point, and the positioning has been on point. Two key features that we know most often associate with vengeurr. So that's a good sign.
It is. I mean, you could see the confidence was definitely booming in terms of the way he played it out when he was hunting for that first opening frag. Nice tracing with the LG there, actually. And he's able to keep his composure, even on the back foot in terms of stack, where he's been out of control for a little while. He's still making it look like he's got a lot of weight to throw around. That follow-up rail was brilliantly placed. And now you can see Spart1e looking a bit bruised, losing HP all over the gaff.
Yeah, but vengeurr needs to get a grip of these totems. Spart1e's had the overstack up for the majority of the map. He's managed to find one just now, but Spart1e has another totem up, which means he'll be able to reclaim that overstack instantly. And it's been such a big feature of the game. As you say, he should be looking bruised, but because he's got that to work with, he's not been as unhealthy as one would expect.
You got to track down those totems. You got to exterminate them. You can't let them take over control of the map. Spots it round the corner and pulls out the shotty to dispatch at least one of them and try and stop Spart1e from having so many pocket heals available to him. I believe he has two others up though in position. We see the drop down from vengeurr. Look how much he's chunking him. The rockets will be able to come in clutch, and he gets the heavy off the back of the pickup. At this point now, 2 frags ahead as we hit 4 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock.
But once again, overstacks up. Spart1e's healthy enough to push in. You can see the confidence coming out here. He hasn't really got a rocket once again, but has the spam weapons available. And vengeur's just respecting the positioning and posturing of Spart1e. He pushes in with the rockets, but the damage has been quite significant from Spart1e. Stealing away that mega as well means he's got a chunky stack to work with. This is a bit too aggressive. Ooh. And that's what happens if you are too confident in your aim. Just misses one rail and that cost him.
Wow, okay. And we're talking about confidence in aim. vengeurr, peak after peak with a rail, training them together. Perfect timing, not missing a beat until finally he'll drop the ball as Spart1e's able to dash, getting past the corridor, now putting the hurt back onto vengeurr, as he's got to deviate from the game plan of getting involved in the scrap and instead start to get himself back towards the items. Grabs the mega, heals himself up, leaving them in a very similar position. We've got 1 second until heavy's up though. So this is both of those major items now being claimed in that one rotation.
Spart1e's just running from item to item to item, living off the overstack, working with the rail. He's used more rails than rockets and lightning gun. That's how much he's been using this weapon. But that's also how much vengeur's been stopping him from getting onto the rocket. It's been a very bizarre game so far.
Man, it's crazy. Like, in terms of the actual damage output we're seeing coming out from Spart1e here in some of these really awkward encounters, it feels like he should actually have the upper hand in a lot of these fights. It's rough. vengeurr, though, taking his toes off. At least from now on, he'll only need 1 shoe. If he loses one, it will be fine, Dan. He's only got a single foot left.
And there's been permanent overstack. I would like vengeurr to venture out to try and find some of these. He must know how much Spart1e's working with, because he's only found 1 all game, I think.
God, this is the battle of the rails at the minute. The LG coming back out, though. And vengeurR, he was shredded, but the rocket comes in, clutch timing, allows Tiny Timmy, the turret, to tackle down Spart1e. And again, give another frag over to vengeurR. Now 5-1, but here's the scary part. At this point, you're looking at the clock and you're thinking, all right, we're coming up close towards 7 minutes. Spart1e, get a groove on, get into the game here. vengeurR, not wanting to give him that opportunity, but taking so much damage, he can't do anything else. He's got to slow this one down.
He's in a bit of trouble here as well. He's super early for this heavy. Spart1e, if he knows the timing, can definitely be pushing in. He might be a little bit late as vengeurR creeps back towards. He definitely knows the timing. Spart1e is a bit late, but he's actually caught vengeurR down there. The rocket is big, but vengeurR actually bounces onto the jump pad. Spart1e is going to chase as well. Can vengeurR get away? The wrong weapon choice comes out, but he manages to get the frag anyway.
Okay. I'm curious about the actual damage output we've had between these two sides right now as well. It's 2k for Spart1e and 3k for vengeurR. A lot of these fights, Spart1e, he's looked like he's done a great job of getting initiation damage off and being able to chip his way through the stack of vengeurR. Peering down from the elevated angle here, trying to hit him from the high ground, but he bounces in and he's slow and completely held in place by both the LG and the turret that just ruined him, Dan. He was snared. He effectively walked over a tripwire.
Yeah, exactly. He went in. He knew exactly where he wanted to dodge to get away from the rockets, but didn't realize he was dodging his ass into a turret and got eaten alive. He's caught vengeurR here, but it's getting a little bit too late. He's got the overstack though, so he can push in, and vengeurR actually gets caught off the spawn. He will be going down. He hits a big rail though. It is just before the heavy, so Spart1e can restack. He's also got the overstack if he can get another turret up. This is getting close now. Only 2 frags in it, and it's still a minute and a half to go. vengeurR on the ropes. The next rotation of items should go to Spart1e. He needs to get himself a rocket, and then he's in a really good position to go aggressive. vengeurR's just not connecting.
It's doable. I mean, if he's able to chase and actually close down this kill here, take it 5-4. At this point, you're giving yourself 60 seconds for a final frag, but he's hiding. It looks like he's actually just set himself up. He's playing a game of hide and seek. And it seems like he's going to get himself a gold star for this one. Spart1e completely confused. He's lapped around him twice now, Dan, and hasn't cleared towards the right side. Doesn't know where vengeurR is. So much time being wasted, but he could catch him.
Yeah, he should have a fair idea that he might be hiding at the teleporter now. He's checked all the nooks and crannies, hasn't found it. He slows down to try and bait vengeurR out, but vengeurR not falling for it, playing nice and slow. He just dodges at the last moment. Spart1e didn't see him. How unfortunate is that? There is still time, but vengeurR has done a good job of working his way right the way back around the map. It's a very difficult position to nail down. Spart1e hears him though. He knows he's above.
You said the classic line, Dan. That means it's got to be over. Even though he's chasing, he's going to miss as the rail will just dent the pillar. And he'll go down.
Oh, that's so unlucky.
Closed out. And at that point, you look at it. A 6-3 split. Potentially going to be a 7th frag as he hits the flashy GG rail. vengeurR, you cheeky boy. The vengeurR bus has arrived in full force as he's clearly gassed up and ready for this series. A close back and forth. In terms of the actual map, there was definitely a lot of tight intricacies on that one. But vengeurR popping off towards the end. Clean plays.
It was clean from vengeurR. I think the strategy was clean from vengeurR. The execution was a bit iffy at time. I'm going to put that down to a bit of rustiness. Spart1e, pretty much the opposite. No strategy whatsoever for about 5 minutes. Just purely relied on insta-gimp, and then decided once he had a bit of control, he actually played it a lot cleaner. But by that point, vengeurR's lead was sizable enough to go on the defensive. Definitely would like to see Spart1e to stick to the basics. I think vengeurR did a good job of actually stopping him from playing the game he wanted to, but I didn't feel that Spart1e put enough effort on getting the right weaponry, getting the right positions. He was just kind of using the overstack really well, in fact, and just relying on rail. So it was an unusual game.
It was just a rail fight. Like, it really did just feel like insta-gimp for a good, couple of minutes there. I think until, 6 minutes in, then we saw the LG being pulled out a little bit more. Some crazy moves. You also, you take it into consideration. You think about the different outcome here on, 1 or 2 small frags where Spart1e went in for these big commits and was effectively just out-DPS'd by the turret. It could have been a whole game changer.
Yeah, and that's was such a key feature is the use of the abilities and maximizing the abilities. We saw twice the turret coming out as MVP. Once down here, I think this is actually Zig's exact frag here. The turret behind him is probably not realizing he had the good dodge pattern, but wasn't able to realize what was going on. And the second time, right at the very end, there was a bit of turret play up on the mega health area again, just obliterating a 300 stack. On the flip side, it felt like Spart1e had permanent overstack. There was barely a moment in the map where I didn't see him with 3 totems up because vengeurR was unable to get out and find where these totems were. So once again, it was the abilities of both these champions coming out to the fore, but look at vengeur's damage. That just shows how efficient he was, despite not being as crisp as we might have seen him in the past.
No, yeah. I mean, basically restricted to just playing off the back of a heavy as his cornerstone, but he still made it work. He was low into a few instances, so instead he just slowed down the tempo, right? We saw, what, maybe 60 seconds of hide and seek where he was able to tuck himself away, outmaneuver Spart1e when he knew that we were close towards the dinner bell being rung and the game being closed out, and it worked out brilliantly. Spart1e made multiple laps around the map and just couldn't find him. It wasted more than enough time to close that one out. 7-3 scoreline, yes, but honestly, it was far closer than that. In terms of how close this actual first map was, I think this could have gone either way.
I think so. I think if Spart1e had a better strategy for the first few minutes, he could have taken that map. vengeurR looked a little bit vulnerable, but at the same time, vengeurR controlled the pace. He definitely controlled the game in terms of the way it was playing out. And he looked comfortable. It wasn't particularly challenged. Spart1e was hitting a bit more rail than he was, but it wasn't enough to threaten him.
No, not at all. But we do move on, of course. Still plenty more to go inside of this series. 2 more maps with this one. Here's the exciting bit about this, though. Straight off the back of Ruins, we now go into Awoken. We get Strog and Pika pulled out for Spart1e. A champion that he is quite endemic to. He's good with. We've always seen him be very effective with the crouch slide. Good as well when he's got a rail in his hand. Then you move on to vengeurR, though, right? You're on Awoken and you've got Athena. That grapple can actually be pretty gnarly if you pull off some tasty maneuvers with it, Dan.
Yeah, and this is a map vengeurR obviously specializes in. And it's a map you need to play around the items. On Ruins, you can get away without controlling the items as much. There's more remit to play defensive, to play that ranged rail game, but on Awoken, you can close the gap so quickly. You can get in your opponent's face. You can force combat situations. So if Spart1e does plays as itemless as he was without for the first few minutes of the game, I think he's going to struggle.
We shall see. So here we go. Second map on this one then. vengeurR currently leading. He kicked it off with a bang. We'll start off on his POV. Will the Athena be able to ascend to glory, or would this be Spart1e slapping him back down to earth? Early on, a lot of commotion, but not too many connections. Finally, one will actually come through as vengeurR buckles under the damage that's been outputted by Spart1e, leaving him low with just 59 stack, but he plays smart. Rockets coming in, Dan, chains them together, and they've both got to concede this. Neither one of them wanting to commit to a fight.
Yeah, lucky to get out there. Is good play for Spart1e to push in and keep it aggressive. But they are going to trade items here as Spart1e falls back onto the mega. He wants to go aggressive once again, but not connected on that rail. And the Easter grapple to get away is also really crisp. Pika comes out, does a little bit of damage. Now Spart1e's kind of trapped. Nice rail. Oof.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Okay. Wow. All right. Big Papa Pump coming out. The shotty. Getting a taste of vengeance, finally. First shotgun frag we've seen into 2021 in the Quake Pro League, and now we get a second one coming along. In thick and fast fashion. That was a fast flick, though. And Spart1e.
There we go.
Oh, my, oh, my. The bass is starting to boom, but it's not treble that vengeur's feeling. It's trouble, Daniel.
That's so nice by Spart1e. He's using the speed and Strog so nicely. Finally, the rail is connecting, and vengeur's in a lot of trouble. Oh, he gets pulled down. Greediness from the Swede as vengeurR capitalizes on that small mistake, and now he's able to get himself on the map. There's no major items up for a little bit, so Spart1e will have the stack advantage, but doesn't have all the weapons he needs just yet. Scouting Pika coming out. Spart1e's he's going to go in aggressive. The rail isn't there. vengeurR needs to get away.
Oh my god. vengeurR straight back in though.
Right.
Dives in to get himself the mega. Spart1e drops down onto heavy, but he's taking heavy hits. He does get him low. Within an inch of his life, 12 HP is all that vengeurR had left to keep himself alive and kicking, and he really is going down kicking and screaming, chasing Spart1e round the corner. The flicks with the rails have been absolutely disgusting tonight, and they won't stop yet, Dan, both of them. In a very similar position when it comes to stack. He knew he was coming back out through banana, set up on the angle. He had his crosshair primed and ready, but he misses. He is able to dash through the air though as he pushes back up, and Spart1e, he can't connect. The LG's missing, but the rail won't.
Yeah, not entirely sure why Spart1e forfeit that first Mega, and the second one, again, the timing isn't just there. So if he can clean that up, he's in a good position, because at the moment he's definitely out-damaging vengeurR and using the speed and stack of strong really effectively. He has to get himself some rockets. He seems averse to rockets throughout this series so far. Quite happy just to play a rail-based game. Good damage from vengeurR, and he will be able to win himself a Mega here. There's plenty of time for him to set up for the heavy as well, so Spart1e will need to retreat.
Rocket barrage coming in. Spart1e heading out. The rail shot still so close though. Playing off the back of tempo as well, trying to slow him down as he knew that vengeurR was hot on his tail. Bounces round the corner like a speed demon and slays him with a shotgun. 7 seconds until Mega's back up as well, and this should be an easy pickup for vengeurR. At that point, he's in a good spot. Actually bounces him off of the Mega Dan, chaining the rockets together, gets the item and the kill in simultaneous fashion.
You can see why he's not using rockets now. They were pretty sloppy. He was set up perfectly, just didn't hit anything. And now vengeur's in a commanding position. All the stack to work with. Perfect position up here on the Mega as well. Great peeker, but he gets caught invisible, knocks onto the jump pad, and that's an easy frag for the Italian.
Oh, a sanity from the Italian as he's flicking like an absolute lunatic. Both of them have been really clean with the rails tonight. You can see they've certainly got a lot of control inside of those wrists. vengeurR riding the lightning. The Metallica fan himself as he'll once again slay Spart1e, at this point putting himself 2 frags up, looking to make that a third down as he goes 7-4 at 4 minutes into the second map.
He does indeed, and it's looking very clean from him as Spart1e once again will be giving away another frag. He does manage to get out, so not just yet, but vengeurR has control of all the items so far. He's taken both the lights and the Mega so far. Will be working his way back round to the heavy, and Spart1e's in a lot of resource trouble.
Grapple hook giving him mass momentum, but he impacts, craters, and slows down because of it. Not able to use that to his advantage. He is still miles ahead when it comes to the overall kill tally here in the game, though, so he can afford to waste a bit of time. Locking it down Kilson style, as he'll lurk towards middle and listen out. Those ears perked up. Heard Spart1e coming in. Quick transition as well as he drops down towards the lower level, knowing exactly where he is and firing off warning shots. Trying to initiate a fight off the back of the little grapple around the corner. Nice play with a tri-bolt as well. Spart1e, he will get the major item down. He's really trying to capitalize off the back of this, knowing that potentially vengeurR could be on the ropes.
And this is exactly what he needs to do. He's managed to slow down the tempo, play a bit better on his positional game, and hit a couple of good rails. And all it took was one single rail on the Mega pickup, and that stopped vengeurR from pushing on the heavy and won himself the item. A subsequent second rail on return means that vengeur's very much on the back foot now. Great catch up, the jump up, and the flick rail for Spart1e's good, and he managed to finish him off. This is the one trouble with Athena, is that you are so weak. If you do lose out on these rail exchanges, you're in deep trouble.
The stack might be small, but the sheer speed is ginormous. She's like a bullet train, just flying all over the gaff. From Manchester to London in under 5 minutes, Dan. It's just not acceptable. And Spart1e, he can't keep up with it. You can see him trying to reposition to hit these rails and just not being given a chance. And again, vengeurR now playing with that pace, dancing with the devil as he slows the game down. Both of them firing off rails, matching tempo to tempo. Finally, one will land as Spart1e gets the backstab off. The full frontal assault follow-up as well. Rocket barrage, shot after shot going out, trying to read where vengeur's going to take this as he rotates round. Pika committing to the fight as he'll charge in. The blaster hitting, but it's not enough to frag him out. Instead, has to commit to the rail once more. He's fragile, and he's gone.
That was a really well-worked frag by Spart1e. Felt he had lost the opportunity, winning with a bit too aggressive round in banana. It's quite obvious, but the return rail into shotgun was good. But vengeurR once again dives in, steals away the heavy, and gets away with his life for now. Can Spart1e get across? He can. vengeur's just going up, trying to do as much damage as he can. He managed to do a lot, in fact. And should set out nicely to push in aggressively. The read from vengeurR was fantastic, but the use of the Pika was just as good.
Hold on to your horses on this one, Dan. All bets are off. We're 8-8, we're 7 minutes in. It has been the rail show. It has been a display of sheer movement that's coming out from both of these boys with the way they're playing it. Now the entire Arsenal's getting a little bit of love, but the flicks are still certainly the most ferocious part for vengeurR. Again, impacting onto Spart1e. Longest downtime we've had between the major items as well. 22 seconds for Mega, 14 until Heavy's up. No chance to really buff yourself unless you're just lurking your way around, building the stack back from those light items.
It's a big rotation of items. Spart1e can get these cleanly. He's in such a good position to go over there to bully Venga. But again, he misses out on the heavy. Why does he go so aggressive? Instead of doing the basics, he tries to out-meta his opponent, and he's just bamboozled himself. Spart1e outworked himself in that position.
I mean, Venga's the one that's working up a sweat. Look at him. God damn. Wipe that off your brow. Straight in for another frag, and all of a sudden a cascade of kills coming in, Dan, and it's starting to slip away. Spart1e, he's kept this so close the entire time. Venga, though, running out of ammunition. Reserves are low, but rockets are still there, and they're going to do more than enough damage, but they won't get the kill! The Pika play! The second frag picked up off the back of the droid, this time for Spart1e, as again, Venga goes down. 12-9 on the kill divide. We're close towards the 9-minute mark. Spart1e, you got a chance, but it's getting slimmer and slimmer the longer he leaves this.
Yeah, but there's such a big split between items now. Venga's going to have to go full defensive. You can see him here just hiding out over by the Mega, not wanting to make any sort of maneuver. He will be just on the run for the next minute. So Spart1e has time to pick up this Mega, but then he needs to go full W mode.
Final 60. Spart1e darting around. Rockets just impacting onto him, really making this quite uncomfortable. He's trying his best to actually close the gap. Shot coming out with the rail as well through the murder hole, but it won't connect. It does feel like, unfortunately, on this one, the ship has sailed. Venga's been able to pick it up. Such a back and forth map of Awoken, though. Spart1e had a solid lead as well, Dan. It seemed like he actually had a good control of the game, but it's the rail reliance. He's on with the rail today, and it's really paying off for him.
Oh.
But the issue is Venga somehow just clutching these frags away by the skin of his teeth.
I mean, Spart1e played great, and then he played trash for 30 seconds, and that cost him the game. Like, problem with Spart1e is he tries to be too clever sometimes. Either that, or he just loses track of the status of the game. There was multiple times where he could have just taken the easy option, played the item, and then gone aggressive, but instead tries to almost outmaneuver his opponent, chases him down, and then just loses out on the item completely. And there was around 8 minutes where we had that big split on the items. Spart1e had the stack advantage, he had positioning on the heavy, and then decides to go ahead and just chase Venga, and Venga just jumps onto the heavy and gets away. And I don't know why. I don't know why he felt the need to do that. The game was even. It was 8-8. He had control. Just keep it, play simple, take the stack, and then go aggressive. But, you know, didn't want to do the basics.
No. Awoken overall, they're looking like a very, very high-tempo game, though, for the most part. I did want to highlight as well, a lot of the plays that we actually saw coming out from Venga on that Athena, in terms of the movement, like, not even with the grapple. Yes, the grapple was fantastic for some of the plays he was actually able to pull off, to just waste so much time where Spart1e just couldn't get a hit on him. It looked like he was basically a Pikachu using agility, Dan. He was all over the gaff. He just couldn't be hit, right? But it's the fact that some of the actual dodges, the micro maneuvers he was making with his actual just core movement was really sick to watch. Venga just hitting him with a Texas two-step, back to back.
Yeah, I was really impressed with that. And Athena's always fun to watch, but when you put it in the hands of someone like Venga, we can see how good it is and how difficult it was for Spart1e to hit it. But on the flip side, I felt that Spart1e was using the Strog really well. There were some really nice peekers that came out as well. The use of the speed, Spart1e used it exceptional to create new angles and to keep on top of Venga. Again, it came down just to, as you say, a bit of exceptional play from Venga and some unfortunate mistiming / questionable decisions from Spart1e.
Again, though, if we're going back to actually this series in terms of showing off the best of the abilities when it comes to making the full use of the kit you have available in your champions, I think this has actually been a really good spotlight for it. Both of these maps have been super solid for the plays. We saw great use of both the totems and the turrets in map 1. Here again, some of the Pika plays, you can see how clutch they were, right? You got 2 raw Pika frags off the back of the kamikaze kills with so much damage output being done from the blasters as well. So actually really nice to watch from Spart1e.
Yeah, I really enjoy watching both these players. Good rails coming out. Look how much Spart1e nearly doubling the damage with the rail.
Yeah. And that was it. That was like his in for a lot of that map. Like in terms of flicks, he was on point. Both of them nearly at 50% accuracy, but obviously the caveat is the fact that he's got so much more damage. 1.6k with the rail. He was just constantly chipping him to pieces. If he was China, he'd be completely broken down. There wouldn't be anything left. That cup would be shattered.
Yeah, but then he did virtually nothing with any other weapon, whereas you can see the damage distribution from vengeurR fairly even throughout a lot of lightning gun. You can see him wanting to close the gap onto Spart1e, nearly doubling his damage with the rocket as well. So just maximum efficiency from vengeurR throughout.
Yeah. Really, really solid plays. Now, here's where something gets a little bit spicy as well. We move on to the third and final map for this one. Of course, it's a bit of a throwback. We haven't had Veil of Naf in the Pro League for a little while. It's been out of commission, and now it's back into the pool. I love a bit of Veil. I think Veil's always been really interesting to watch. For me, Dan, this is the heavy dream. You get two heavy champs just going head to head here. You let them slog them out. It's basically like a boxing ring, right? But obviously, in terms of the matchup we've got, we have BJ against Sorlag.
Yeah, I'm not feeling too confident in Spart1e shoes. I think BJ can work, but on a map like Veil, it's a bit more difficult to use and maximize efficiency. Yeah. Whereas I think, as you said in the introduction, you can just make so many mistakes on a Sorlag and still come back swinging. And on a map like Veil, with the tight corridors, with how closely fought it is, you can just keep running at your opponent. So that's what I expect to see from vengeurR.
I mean,
there we go.
Yeah, you called for it. And he will always perform. Big old vengeurR coming in, the Maestro Madman kicking it off as he macerates his way through Spart1e immediately to start us off here. The gigantic Lizardon, the big girl herself. 25 seconds in, you're already a frag up, and now you can afford to dial it back immediately, right? You've got that first pick. There's no need to overcommit. Playing slow, Spart1e with the timing there was trying to sneak up. vengeurR had a bit of a trap set. And the Rockets actually being chained together quite nicely. Spart1e, he's broken already at this point, Dan. That's the major item gone. Bit of chip damage goes out, but it's nowhere near enough. vengeurR trying to commit. Difference maker is that rocket actually causes him to realign his focus.
Yeah, he's managed to pull back onto the rail now so he can play the range game against Spart1e. That's where Spart1e was winning out. Big rocket to the face, and we tied up.
Man. All right. That's tidy. Oh, it's not stopping though. What's going on?
And this is the challenge, is that even if you get the frag, you just have to be so wary of where your opponent might spawn and what she's going to be able to do, because she's just so damn quick.
Mate, I have missed Veil. It's genuinely just a scrap, isn't it? They just windmill at one another over and over and over again. And obviously it works so well. You're a heavy champ, why not? You come back in with that ginormous starting stack, just sprint at them, headbutt them, and leave them knocked on their buttocks. Spart1e, knowing exactly where he is, good rocket to actually open up the fight, but the rail won't land. He does dive down, doesn't get himself anything off the back of it. No heavy, no chance, no kill, as he's gone, buckled by vengeurR. We go 2-1 at the 2-minute mark.
And already, I mean, Spart1e struggled to use the dual wield already. It's just not a map that's conducive to using it. They bounce well up into the air. vengeurR coming out on top of that exchange so far. Also falls back onto the light, so we'll be going in for the kill here with the shotgun. But Spart1e, double rail, keeps himself alive.
Oh, God. The double rail all across the sky. He's keeping himself in the game now. Oh, the dual wield, the timing on it as well, but Spart1e! The self-sustained damage, the turn on from vengeurR, that's not ideal. That's not either. The head of vengeurR clipping on the ceiling as he falls down to the lower levels, but he'll still get the kill from the spit as Spart1e burnt to a crisp there from that venom.
Yeah, that's a pretty unfortunate frag for Spart1e, as now vengeurR gets full control of the map, both major items and a light to go. All the weapons he needs, hasn't got a lightning gun, but Spart1e's in a world of pain now with nothing to work with. And the job for him is trying to slow down this pace, but vengeurR's now got a 10-second split on the major items, so he's the one that can afford to play positional and just take the items away from Spart1e. And this is the time where we need to see Spart1e working that rail magic.
It's got to. It's been so crisp throughout the series. If you can hit some clutch rails here now, do enough damage to leave vengeurR far weaker.
Oof.
It might get you in. So vengeurR committing there as well, getting the spit out, believing that Spart1e was actually going to chase on the TP, but he doesn't. Instead holds. Heavy comes up. That's now grabbed for vengeurR. Initiation rocket going to miss. But look at vengeur's arsenal down to 1 rocket. Running low on ammo here.
Yeah, that's exactly why he didn't push. So smart to recognize that A, Spart1e had a slightly better position, but B, he didn't have the weaponry to contest. Good awareness from vengeurR, but instead he sweeps back around, hits a nice rail, picks up the light, and he's the one that's now very much controlling this tempo. But Spart1e's got a good stack to work with. He's used that dual wield though. vengeurR did see that.
Well, he's caught him there. He spotted him, and he did try and get the flick off with a rocket. Instantly on the timing. Won't matter though, as Spart1e has already slain him by that point. An exchange of rails as both of them will whiz by. Nearly giving a free haircut to the big lizard. Picks up the Mega as well. And could have the edge off the back of this. vengeurR, the fadeaway damage done with the rockets. Both of them matching their movements. So in sync right now with the play. Flick on the rail, not going to land. Does chase, and that one actually does come in. Back-to-back 90s. A sick move from Spart1e, and the gap starting to be closed. 4-3.
Said we needed to see that rail magic, and that's exactly what we're getting so far. Back-to-back rails is what you need to do against the lizard, but she comes charging in. 1 rail missed. Is that big opening? The spit comes out. He's ticking away. The rail's big. He's got Spart1e on the ropes. Dual comes out, but it's too little, too late. As vengeurR gets away with a very clean frag, and it's just before it's heavy as well. He sees the weapon pick up. He knows exactly where Spart1e is, so he's more than aware that he's in a safe position to take this heavy away.
Coming around the corner, trying to at least keep himself alive behind the pillar, but instead Spart1e, he's punished. Broken there by vengeurR. Sets up on the angle as well. Scoped in with a rail, did want to wait to do a little bit of damage, but knowing the timing instead makes his move for Mega first, keeping that stack absolutely booming and starting to do some bruising to Spart1e, but he's the one that isn't going to be losing vengeurR! Again, another kill, keeps him up in the air, locked up in the air, Dan! Oh, not again,
not
surely!
Again. Oh no, not again! But he does come out and at least strayed. It took him 2 goes at it, 2 bites of the cherry, but no, he gets the worst of the spawn. And vengeurR is the one to walk away with the advantage here. The rail comes out. Needs to hit another miraculous rail, but vengeurR does sweep away the Mega just in time. Big rocket as well. Spart1e's trying his best, but he just can't do enough damage.
It's all about the rails right now, but the LG from vengeurR, that's what's really his biggest worry. That's his gigantic foe. But vengeurR falls. Goes down as the rail will land. Spart1e now a couple of frags behind, sure, but he's still got time to play with. 4 minutes on the clock. The drop down from vengeurR. Elbow coming in. He's getting leery. He's starting to play this one like it's WWE, but the double rockets are pulled out and they land. Spart1e with a kill. 9-6. He's making this gap look slim. If he can stay alive here, Dan, it's entirely doable. And again, his trump card of the rail clutching it out.
1 HP, he needs to stay alive. He does manage to regen with that passive as well. Ticks back up, but you can see the problem. If he gets a little bit low, the lizard just runs straight at you. Starting spawn shotgun is all he needs to feel confident to do anything. So that 3 frag buffer at the minute, it's not looking the biggest, but it's enough. It's also in a great position to pick up this Mega. Spart1e raining down rockets, but not connecting with anything just so far, and vengeurR manages to get away. 10 seconds till the heavy, so we'll slow down just ever so slightly here as they both set up. vengeur's obviously in a slightly better position. Spart1e not a lot of weaponry to work with either.
Nice tap. That actually gives him the read. It gives him enough information to fully commit into the fight as well. The double LG, the big play. We were saying how pivotal it is that he doesn't make any mistakes with that active ability. Pulling out the akimbo when he needs to gain control of a major item. And the Mega's been picked up. vengeurR, he's going to be put into a coffin. And Spart1e leaving himself 2 frags down here with a lot of time left to close this. It's still entirely doable.
Oh my god, 7 minutes gone. It feels like 17 minutes. There's been so much action.
It's been non-stop. This is what I've missed Veil. It's just so punishing. Eight minutes in though, Dan. Where's the punishment going to come from next? The play through the porter. He hit it. He actually hit the rail. Smooth 90 on the exit. vengeurR, the big stack, now looking quite small. Commits with a double shotty. Dives on him, pouncing like a panther as he gouges the lizard's eyes out. And again, another kill is found for Spart1e. We're at 8 minutes in. 1 frag difference between them. If Spart1e can win this map, he'll deny the bonus points for vengeurR. He'll split the series 2-1 apiece. If he doesn't, if he fails to do so, vengeurR gets a smooth 3-0 to start stage 2.
Spart1e preserving his stack here, slowing down the tempo ever so slightly. He knows he's got bags of time to make this comeback count. It's all about preserving his stack. He can't afford to give away free damage, but he also can't afford to give away any items. 10-second split now. Spart1e found the lizard, but big rail from vengeurR. That will stop Spart1e. Needs to go back and get the items.
This reeks of sudden death territory with the way it's being played out at this point. We're getting so close to the final 60 seconds. Start your stopwatch now and keep your eyes firmly on your monitor as it's all about to kick off. With 1 frag left to go to decide if this is going to an overtime situation, it's up to Spart1e to force the issue. The big issue is he's got 2 guns where vengeurR only has 1. But vengeurR, he's got a getaway maneuver. He dashes round, takes only 10 damage from the follow-up shots. But those big chain kills coming in, Dan. Back-to-back connection there as the tri-bolt leaves him looking low. The rocket starts to buckle him as well, and the shot he's pulled out, Spart1e could close it right now and take it to a tied position if the LG gets him the frag. He knows he's got to fall away though. So much damage done.
How is vengeurR staying alive? He's doing just enough damage to keep Spart1e at bay, and the time is going away. 15 seconds, Spart1e, you need to move. Oh, and vengeur's just picked up the heavy as well. He's going to try and wait out for this, but there's not enough time. Spart1e, you've mistimed, and you're out of time. Oh my god, good games all round. That was as close as it gets.
Honestly, that was sick. As first maps go, to get Veil back in the pool, it was a hell of a display of why we have so much fun when me and you get to waffle away over it, because that was sick, man. It literally lived up to exactly what you said, right? vengeurR just going in, hitting like a truck time and time again. But Spart1e, he matched that tempo. I think that's the most impressive bit about it, is his rail was a skeleton key. It was the only thing that would open him back up in positions where it seemed like it never should have.
Exactly, and that's what playing against the Sword does. It forces you, puts you under so much pressure to hit your crucial shots, and Spart1e lived up to it this time. You know, if he missed a couple of those shots here and there, suddenly that scoreline begins to snowball, and it's no coming back for poor old Spart1e. But he did. He, as you say, he kept the tempo. He made sure he was on point on the items consistently, actually too consistently, even at the end, waiting around for items. But he played the items really well, and he hit the clutch shots, and that's why he was able to keep it so damn close. But the challenge was, as we saw, vengeurR just came back time and time again until the very end where he needed to slow the tempo, and that's when he did so exceptionally well. The last 2 minutes, Spart1e's pressure was relentless, but vengeurR was doing just enough damage to keep him at bay. A couple of fights that could have gone another way if vengeurR missed a shot, and he also didn't miss the clutch shots.
Oh, it's a shame. The one time the timing comes into question, of course, and it's the biggest, most important mistake that was made throughout the whole back and forth. A lovely 3-map series, though, Dan. If we look at this for what it is, as a way to kick it off, first actual bout we've got in the Quake Pro League for 2021. I loved it, mate. I think this was a sick way to start things, right? You come in with the battle of the Italian versus the Super Swede, and it was actually really sick to see Spart1e matching vengeur's tempo.
I mean, if there's something you can count on Spart1e doing, is playing at a high tempo. And I think the reason that series was so fun to watch and so frustrating for Spart1e fans at the same time, because it embodies Spart1e perfectly. Like, all the skills, some of the best plays, great tempo, just basic mistakes cost him. I think he could have won every single one of those maps on another day if he played a little bit cleaner. It's just sometimes the timing and decision making lets him down. The skills always there, without a doubt. Sometimes his rail isn't always on point. Today it was. It's just simple decision making let him down in that series for me.
Right. I mean, I hope he's doing some wrist exercises, because the amount of flicks he was pulling out, he needs to give those muscles a rest down. He's going to do some serious damage with that bad boy. Crazy kills on the rail. I think that's like the huge props to it as well, right? Is we have some sick rail players in the QPL, and it's so nice when Spart1e gets to show off the level of lethality he has with the weapon.
I think, and even though like he's obviously been around the block, a number of times, we can still see how reliant he is on that weapon. And when it doesn't work, that's when we see him gets absolutely crushed. There are just days where his rail's not connecting and he doesn't have a chance. So an evolution for him is to move away from being such a heavy-based rail player. I mean, that's a hard task when it's as good as it is, but you know, to take that next level for someone like a Spart1e, that's what he needs to do. vengeurR, I think, just showed what vengeur's so good at. He's played exceptional on the defense. He showed us some good offensive play, particularly on the Athena. But when he needs to slow down the tempo, he's one of the best at the world in doing it. We could see how difficult it was for Spart1e for the last few minutes on Veil to close the gap. It just couldn't lock down his opponent, and that got him that one fragment victory.
Yeah, and it was a great champion matchup, a great Veto, and a fantastic bout between both of these competitors. That's the first series. Plenty more to come tonight. 6 more games will be going down here as we kick off Stage 2 of Season 2 of the Quake Pro League. Keep it locked. When we're back, we are going to be heading into a big, meaty affair. Effortless versus The Hang, as we get to cover some all-American Quake. Keep it locked when we're back after the break.